What's going on? My name is Anthony Vitale, and my guests at this time are Austin Archie and Tom Barber. They're in a band called Lorna Shore. If you're not familiar with the band Lorna Shore, you're going to find out a little bit right now. Fellas, first of all, thanks for taking the interview with me. Thanks for stopping and giving me the time.
Of course.
Let's go for it. The record is called Psalms. It's out on Density. Congratulations. It is a pulverizing record. It's fantastic, top to bottom. So tell me about it. What is the essence of Psalms, and what is your favorite song on Psalms? Go first.
Psalms, me and our guitarist Adam, we started writing this stuff. A lot of the songs are, pretty old by now for us, but, it's new to everyone else. But, we sat in his room and just tried to write something that would be better than what we put out before, and just taking all the elements of what people like and, hearing the feedback of everyone who's listened to our previous releases, just trying to take those elements and amplifying it into the new album. And it's our first debut full length, so it was kind of nerve-wracking, but we just wanted to kind of layer it together to kind of tell a story, and that's where Tom comes in with his words. It's our version of our Psalms, so to say.
And that's the concept of the record. It's your personal Psalms.
I feel like there's a lot of different stuff. Before anything was written out, I kind of went up to everybody and was like, what do you feel for if I were to write for it, or what would you feel against about it? And they honestly were just like, fears, we're all about, there's things that bother us, there's a couple things that no one would really love for us to touch base, like kind of religion kind of thing is in one of the songs, maybe it like comes in two of the songs, but it's like, we would never want anybody to think that we're a satanic band or anything like that. We're just a couple dudes that love playing heavy fucking music, got a lot to say, a couple pissed off guys realistically, and this whole album is just kind of like how we got to where we were, but in a different sense, because everything is kind of written loosely. One of the songs is about dying in a car crash with your family, and you being the last one to go, and you being the one sitting in there and just like, oh shit, and kind of going through the 5 stages of death. And there's moments where we would go through the 5 stages of just ain't gonna fucking be anything because of people were feeling a certain type of way, or people going to college or whatever. But there's a lot of shit in this album that realistically everybody can kind of relate to. There's a lot of negative shit.
You gotta have stuff that everyone's gonna kind of want to listen to or read up on or just be curious about, whether it's a loose interpretation of whatever we may be experiencing, whether it's like you said, the fears of any sort of thing. So
not your typical death metal, deathcore record. This runs pretty deep. What's your favorite songs on it? If you could pick one.
Personal favorite, I would have to say the last song, Eternally Oblivion, just because we spent a lot of time on it, and a lot of emotional connection to a lot of parts, and the way it ends, the way it starts, everything's just very, epic, and it's just pretty much a collection of what we were trying to do the whole record, but just in the last 5 minutes of the album, just giving it to everyone. And we tried to put one of our favorite songs as the last song because, we wanted just everyone to be like, all right, this sums it all up. This is it, you know what I mean? So definitely.
That's the complete opposite. The first song, Grimoire, it's basically about people basically like the internet or the media. People kind of see things and it's in red flashing lights and automatically you think it's the truth. And it's just kind of like people being very stupid and ignorant rather than kind of making your own pathway in your life to kind of just go with what everybody else does. Whether it be your favorite show on TV, your favorite band, or whatever. The hype is pizza. I fucking love pizza before it was cool. I'll be the first to say it. You guys from New York. But, it's just basically about self-hatred towards humanity.
Yeah.
And, I feel like we all feel it.
Let's get into Grimoire. You guys have put out 4 YouTube videos in the last year. Some people would say that this band is YouTube famous. Grimoire, 20,000 views in the first day. That's not viral numbers, but that's a
cool.
big number. It started with Godmaker, Create, Grimoire, and now From the Pale Mist. Anthony Altamira from Straight From the Path did a fantastic job with that. Talk about it, though. YouTube. What's with the onslaught of music videos? Has this helped Lorna Shore get to the next level?
Honestly, I'll give that shout out. Do you know that song, Video Killed the Radio Star?
Yeah.
It's #1 reason. It's the truth. It's like you think of anything, when you think of a band, it's just like, oh, what do they look like now? Rather than like, oh, what do they sound like? Or kind of, what are their roots? It's like people, like, how do you put it? It's so much more glamorized to look, to dip awesome and wear the cool clothes rather than write the good music. And, I feel like the music videos kind of portray the music that we're writing.
Right.
And it kind of gives that extra flash of like darkness to it. So it's just kind of makes people a little bit more like, ooh, what's this band about?
So the people aren't only hearing Lorna Shore, they're seeing it too.
Yeah.
Exactly, and you need to see it to believe it, you know, and every song, you know, like you said, we have a strong, like, kind of like statement for it or whatever it may be. So when we're collectively, you know, gathering up a concept for the video, you know, we try to relate it to what the video is going to be. You know, Godmaker, we're in a church, you know, Create, we're kind of just, you know, a chick is, you know, getting possessed by herself and not realizing what's going on. Grimoire, you know, it's kind of like an abstract video, and From the Pale Mist, you know, it's just basically about death, and at the end of the video, we're all dead. You know what I mean?
So a little something different in every video.
Yeah, and you know, and also when you see videos and bands that put out multiple videos, you know, it's just, you know, we want to create the imagery for the band, so when people come see us live, they're not expecting something, but, you know, we just want to give them a show. You got to give them a show, you know. If you just put out a live video for every song, you know, it's cool if you're that type of band, but we're the type of band where we look up to bands like, you know, Behemoth and all these types of bands that have such heavy imagery along with their music, so it's like, you know,
It's a little fucking shaking.
it's like a pee-wee version of what they do, but eventually we want to be at that level where it's like we just have some fucked up shit to look at while you're listening to our music, because, you know, it's we try to be scary, you know, we're trying to shake some heads, you know, we're trying to get people to look away from the screen while they're watching our video, because we want it to be grotesque, you know what I mean?
I think it's working. So you're talking about portraying an image. Let's talk about your influences behind it, though, because, you know, you guys are doing it very well, but who did you look to first? And who influenced you? You're a vocalist, you're a drummer. Who in the metal or just the music in general, who did you look at before we got here?
Vocally, I got started on everything from Cradle of Filth to fucking Cattle Decapitation. I like everything, all different perspectives or genres of music, I guess. Whitechapel was like a huge thing at one point in time. It was like one of my biggest influences. I love Pond of Burning Body vocally. That's what really, really got me doing like my lows and stuff when I first heard that one album with
The World Is Ours.
Yeah, I fucking heard that. I was just like, you know, and that's kind of just what pushed me to want to do my own vocal style, because I heard him and I was like, this guy's not extremely low, but at the same time, it's just got his own brand on style.
Got clarity.
Yeah, it's just, yeah, I love that shit. But lyrically, I mean, I try to push myself towards like the writing styles of Trevor from Black Dahlia Murder. He's like very well written, very awesome vocalist. He can scream any kind of way, writes just about anything. You know, I like anything that's a lot of heart and a lot of thought put into it, rather than just like, oh, this is gonna be heavy, or this is gonna be fucking, what's the word? This is gonna make people be like, oh, what is this? This is so horrible. This is gonna talk about God, you know.
Yeah.
But.
And what about you behind the drums?
I mean, I grew up, you know, loving, you know, the first time I heard Slayer, you know, Dave Lombardo, that's like, you know, him beating the fuck out of these drums as hard as he can, as fast as he can, you know. As far as metal goes, that's like my main influence, you know what I mean? And then, you know, Lorna Shore is technically my first metal, like extreme metal band that I've ever been a part of. So, I mean, when I was little, you know, I grew up, you know, 06, 07 days, you know, I looked up to all those bands, you know, Paul Kohler of Silverstein, you know what I mean? Like, even just bands like that, you know, or just...
You pulled up from a pop-punk band.
Yeah, I pretty much, you know what I mean? I was in just... I was in anything I could play, you know, just because I wanted to play. And,
that's really
you know,
cool.
even going to see Kid Rock and watching that chick, the original chick, jam out on the drums, you know what I mean? Like, I'll never forget being a kid, you know, really young, going with my dad to go see Kid Rock and just seeing someone just fucking playing their heart out. So that's, like, always, like, you know... That's why people sometimes, you know, when I talk to them, they say, oh, it's cool, you're not, you know, just a traditional death metal drummer. And I'm like, well, it's because I'm not, you know, this is something that's almost new to me, but, you know, I go watch these bands, I draw a little bit from everyone, you know, every drummer we tour with, I try and talk to them and get like a little influence from them. And every time I come up from a tour, I'm just more determined to, you know, sort of just go down that path of just, you know, super extreme drumming. So, you know, it all stems back from Slayer, but like I said, throughout the years, you know, it's just... anything that's come my way, you know, just influenced me just the littlest bit. So.
Pretty crazy hanging out with you guys at shows these days, because people would stop Phil Bosman to take a picture. People would stop the drummer of Slayer to take a picture. And it's crazy going to shows, hanging out with you guys. People are stopping you guys for pictures, and now it's, you know, Phil Bosman, Mitch Lucker, Tom Barber, and you guys are kind of running neck and neck with these guys.
It's unreal.
Okay, let's talk about the genre of this band. People have a lot of good things to say about it. People have a lot of negative things to say about it. Some people just call you a straight-up generic deathcore band. What's your response if I were to say Lorna Shore is just a generic deathcore band? And how do you differ from these other bands? What separates Lorna Shore from these other bands? What makes Lorna Shore so much more popular? Because there's so many bands trying to do what you're doing. There's so many death metal, deathcore bands, but Lorna Shore is what the internet wants. Lorna Shore is what the people want. Why are you guys different? And how do you feel about being called a generic deathcore band?
Well, I mean, what I can say is just because I'm a part of the writing process, me and my guitarist Adam, and I'll tell you right now, when we're sitting around writing music, we're not listening to a band in our genre. You know what I mean? The last thing we're gonna do is listen to a band that we're compared to. A lot of people are like, oh, what do you listen to, Die or Murder when you're writing your music? It's like absolutely not. We're listening to Dimmu Borgir, old school stuff that people would be painful to listen to if they like our band, but we'll take those parts or those songs that they have or just even the vibe that they're creating and just throw our spin on it, because I mean, realistically, everything we do is just our spin on it, you know what I mean? Like, and we never want to, people could say we're generic and it's fine, trust me, we're never going to steer away from that probably, but in my eyes, we draw influences from so many spectrums, stuff people wouldn't even expect, and it's just, come together and we make the songs, and what we write is what we write, you know what I mean? Like, we're never sitting there going, oh, what's hype right now, or what should we be writing for the kids that are liking whatever band right now, this is the hot band.
Sure.
By no means, we're listening to, Behemoth, we're listening to, all these super just
starting with the Roots,
you know what I mean? Just like super like epic bands, and obviously we're not those bands, but they're older than us. They have maybe more capabilities than us, but we're just doing what we can, you know what I mean? And for me, I like where we're headed, I know we have a lot of room to grow, as far as from this album to the next album, you hear every band's, first album like Whitechapel, Somatic Defilement, and then This Is Exile, This Is Exile would put them on the map, or a band like Fallujah, with the Harvest Womb, and then they put out The Flesh Prevails, and that album just took them off.
So the ones, the bands that have stuck around are the ones that have ever evolved and that have kept changing and switched the style up. Tom, what's it like being a deathcore band on a death metal tour, trying to earn the respect of these death metal bands? Because for some people there's a fine line. If you go out there and you're playing breakdowns and you're playing more aggressive mosh, and there's hardcore dancing and there's this different element being brought in. How do you earn the respect of let's say, an older death metal guy?
Honestly, we went out there and we just played really hard and tried our best to make sure that we weren't out there to be, like say, fun boys. We were out there to push our music was our number one thing, because our album was coming out, and even if it was a tour of a genre of music that wasn't necessarily ours, a couple days in, like a couple of the guys were going to us, got a chance to catch your set and give us that love we'd never expect for him to even come up to us, and let alone know our names, let alone listen to the fucking band. And it was just cool. I mean, after a couple of days, you just realized there were a couple guys, you're just playing music, we got on stage quick, we got off stage quick, we showed the same respect to all the people we were touring with.
We just try to keep it as professional as we can, like, regardless of what our music is like, when it comes to touring and being around older bands that have been doing this longer than us, we just want to make sure that they know that we're business, we're not out here to have, we're on the road, we're not partying, we're not, we're not drinking to get fucked up every night, we all have our fun, but our fun is on stage, and then afterwards it's cool, but like you said, getting off stage quick, getting off, they appreciate that kind of stuff.
So be yourself, remain professional, do your own thing, not try to lean in any other direction, and eventually Lorna Shore is not so bad.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's what we're banking on. We're banking on, or hoping so.
And also, we're nice people. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't have. I like to say that we don't have any sort of ego. I still feel like we're a local band just playing shows, and we're just giving these crazy opportunities that people would kill for, and
we jump at that shit.
Yeah, and literally, it's a right time and place kind of thing. If people want you to come play, people want you to come tour, we're gonna go do it, but it's never in our head that this is something that we are owed or deserve, you know what I mean? And it's pretty much just all our fans help relay that message to these older people, because they're giving us this hype online. Right. They're coming to our shows, they're buying our merch. All these bigger heads are seeing these numbers that are coming in our merch sales, our CD sales, and they're going, wow, I gotta get these guys on the tour. Whether they like us or not, they gotta get us on the tour, because it's just, the fans speak for us, realistically, you know what I mean? We can do what we want, we can write the music, but it's not going to go anywhere without all the fans just, supporting us and coming out to the death metal shows. We'll have a handful of kids that are there for only us, and for me, that's cool, because it's like, hey, these guys spent $30 on a ticket to come see us, and check out the other bands. It's almost like we're showing them the older bands, when really we're trying to get the older bands fans, and some of them are cool, obviously, there's people that just love metal, but you know, again, you know, it's when it comes to, you know, getting their respect, we just do exactly what we've always done.
That's cool.
Every tour we do the same thing, you know, and it's never an act or anything, you know. We're not, you know, going up to people, running up to them, like begging for their respect, you know. We just play it as it is, and eventually, hopefully, most of the time, it comes full circle, and we end up leaving the tour with respect, you know.
Well, it's good that you guys are still friendly and humble and down to earth, and that's
Of course.
really, it's a good thing.
Of course.
Okay, put together a fantasy tour for me that Lorna Shore would be on, whether you're opening or headlining.
It's realistic.
Give me a, yeah, just well, even a fantasy. So I guess if it's something out of reach or something, you know, what's an ideal tour for you?
I mean, right now, for me, I mean, if you put down a five band package, I don't care. We'll open it. Give me Slipknot, Behemoth, Whitechapel, Suicide Silence, and us. I mean, those are just
Tommy
pretty much
nodding your head, you think?
all the bands, you know.
Just
like,
about that?
Those are all the band's fan bases that we want to reach, you know
Very
what I mean?
cool.
But
Well, really cool. I see Eddie Hermida from Suicide Silence is a fan of Lorna Shore.
Hey, he came out to the Cali.
Stopped
Oakland,
by,
right?
Yeah,
bought a
Oakland.
shirt, bought the CD.
Hey,
So,
and he's a humble guy, man. He comes to the shows, like he said, he's out there in Oakland scene. It was funny. We were at the Deicide show when we were playing with them out there with them, and nobody knew who this guy was. He was just a normal guy in the crowd
Right.
because that just shows like how much these people don't really know about this deathcore
Sure.
sort of metalcore genre. You know,
so
and
that's
it's-
cool though that you're getting guys that are on that level, guys that maybe one day you will tour with.
Hopefully,
and he smoked some bud with us too, which is pretty cool.
There you go.
With a full bowl.
gave us that love.
Thank you, Eddie, for that.
Thank you.
And
Thank you. It was a good
okay,
time.
so who's one of the most underrated bands in the music right now? Underrated. Who do you feel is not getting enough love?
I mean,
Local or national?
I love Knock Loose, you know, I mean, I'm sure the band will get the recognition that they deserve, but, you know, they're just a band that, you know, they're a bunch of young dudes like us, and they're just doing whatever they want, whenever they
That
want,
is
you
the
know, whether
very
it's
cool
playing
thing
big
about them.
venues, playing small venues, playing shit venues, you know what I mean? They're just going out there doing it, working really hard, and that's something you gotta respect.
Playing
I
for
mean,
all kinds of fans too, which is really cool.
it doesn't seem like they're scared of anything, and,
No.
and that's what you need to be in this game, you know what I
Very
mean? You
cool.
can't be scared to go on tour with a band or to go play a show in this area because the scene's not big for that music. It's just you just have to go out there and
And
play
do it.
and
Bite the bullet.
What
And
do you,
they
what do
do
you
that.
say, Tom? Is there anybody who's on a lower level or on a higher level that deserves more recognition? What bands should we be paying attention to?
Honestly, on the come up, I'd say there's two. Well, one of them's not so local, and one of them's from New York. It would have to be Heroes from New York, and Illusionist from NJ.
Yeah,
you know, those
both
definitely
really sick.
both very good bands on the come up. Not many bands that are around right now that really kind of catch our attention, but on tour we'll fucking bump that shit inside the van and we're just, you know.
But some
it's a
locals,
go-to. Oh,
some
yeah.
hard
Yeah, dude.
working
Oh, yeah.
locals.
We'll have some
yeah.
bands open up for us, and you can see how like hard they work. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And you know maybe they'll find their sound and it'll catch the online hype they can. But I mean, you know,
Awesome.
bands we've toured with, like you know, for that last 10 Seconds of Life. You know what I mean? Like that band.
Awesome band.
That band, you know, they
Yeah.
kill it every night. They have massive amount of heart. They've been around for probably longer than anybody knows.
and don't seem to get enough love for it.
And
Never.
they're some of the coolest guys ever.
Yeah.
They're all super cool guys.
Yep.
They're all just like video game characters.
And
they're all
they-
mad
So
cool.
let's go into bands that you think are overrated. Which bands get too much hype and don't deserve it?
I mean, I don't want to be a hater, but I mean, if I have to say off the top of my head, I'd say For Today.
Okay.
And it's not out of hate. I'd say because like you can come to one of our shows, and you'll never catch me on stage telling you. I mean, I'll tell you what I believe, but you won't have me for more than 3 seconds telling you
Right.
how I feel.
Right.
I mean, I remember I went to a show one time, and I was just literally there just listening to the music, and you know, if you're gonna preach during your set, I understand that. At least like give people a fucking heads up. But,
Austin.
Overrated. I mean, there's just a lot of bands that are just, I guess, still like as I would put it, just dragging on. You know, still trying to cling to that sort of fame that they once had. You know what I'm saying? And you know, not to name any names. You know, it's just there's a lot of them out there. You know, what I
Right.
mean, that are they're just clinging on to what they had in the past. And the music
And the
industry.
time's up.
Music industry changes, every fucking day. And it wasn't like what it was 10 years ago, let alone 20 years ago. So when you have bands that have been around for 20 years plus, and if they're not opening up stadiums and they're just going out playing little venues, I get it. We all have that dream, we all have that drive, we all don't want to give this up. You know what I'm saying? I'll be
Right.
in Lorna Shore till the day I die if I was given the opportunity,
Right.
if the fans love it. But the moment it becomes sour and it's just kind of like, oh, why is this band still around? Or if anyone even begins to start saying that, that's when you got to start questioning. What am I doing?
For sure.
So I mean, there's a lot of them out there, but
So- Some bands on a big level, that are a little too much, some bands that have been around too long that should probably just go home.
Yeah, and again, it's not out of hate.
No.
Not at all.
There's
It's out of viewing.
You got to make
Sure.
room for the new crowd, you know. So someone on the Yankees
think
got to
so.
retire for the new rookie to come in
think,
who's going
yeah.
to start killing it. So it's just the same thing, you know.
that's a,
And not
that's a-
that we're trying to push anyone out of the way. There's just you know, a lot of bands that have just been around for too long. Then, you know, and there's bands that have been around for so long and they're still killing it.
Yeah,
and
for
more
sure.
power to them. But like I said, there just comes a point where you have to, as a band, I guess, kind of realize like, all right,
Assess the
are we
situation.
still getting bigger or are we just dragging on it? Are we on a slow downcline? And
I agree.
sometimes it takes a long time for people to realize that. you
I
know,
agree.
and I get it, but
Okay, so as we wrap things up, what's next for Lorna Shore? The record is called Psalms. It's out, getting good reviews. Where do you go from here? What's next for Lorna Shore, and what do you want out of the future for Lorna Shore?
I know we have been starting to write a full length. Adam's hard at work doing that.
Another one already.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's got something in the works. I don't know if we're going to put out right away, but it's just something we're going to put even more time on and try to work on, or ride out Psalms for as long as we could, because Malficium was an EP. We rolled it out for, 2 years?
yeah.
2 years, and, we got on the tours with Carnifex, the Black Dahlia, Fallujah, and that's all for an EP. And,
Yeah.
if we could do that on an EP, let's see what we could do with this full length, and hopefully by the time Psalms is very dry and weathered, we'll have a new album to come out and have people to be like, oh, word, and see what we've been up to. But
Yeah, sort of like the revival, you know, and we want to do some good tours, definitely, you know. It's a rough game, you know, being out there, you know, you're up against every other band in the world that wants to go on these tours as well as yourself, but you know, we're hoping with our numbers for this record and just the overall response from it,
Yeah.
that we'll be given even better opportunities than when we had the EP out. And you know, like you said, we're already gonna start writing. You know, we've toured with so many bands this year where you know, not to sound like a super fan, but like, you know, we just be out there watching them, you know, even just
Every
sound checking.
Yeah.
And I'm just
Every
like,
night.
wow, man, like these guys are amazing. And then you learn about their writing process, you learn about how they do it, and then it's just like, you know, drawing influences from all these different bands. And you know, we're trying to write something for this sophomore record that's gonna be just, you know, our sound, like the culmination of everything that we've done as a band for. I mean, Lorna Shore has been a band for before any of us were
5
in it
years.
for 5-6 years, you know.
started as a Christian band, fun
Yeah.
fact.
Fun fact. You know, I've been in the band for 3.
Yeah.
And Malficium was the first release that I've
Awesome.
actually had hands in, and you know, I'm very, very excited to try and put out a sophomore record that's, you know, the record for us. I mean, and Psalms for me is a great debut. It shows people what we're quote unquote made of, you know. You know, we're from New Jersey, you know. People ask us, you know, why do you have all these breakdowns? What's up with all this stuff? Why can't you just keep it metal? And it's like, hey man,
East
we don't
Coast.
have that New Jersey. If you're a super metal band in New Jersey, you're not gonna get the hype that you want. You're not gonna get the reaction.
Right.
You know, that we don't have that strong metal scene here. So
Right.
we've always had those heavy parts integrated into our music because, you know, it's what we've grown up on. It's what we love, and it's just how we view our aggression.
Yeah.
You know, some people are like, my aggression is, you know, by playing this sort of part or that sort of part. Breakdowns for us are not even necessarily a mosh thing. It's more of just like, all right, you know, this
Time
is
to relax.
Yeah, either it's time to
Time
relax
to chill for a second.
because we've been ripping it for a good 2 minutes, or we're trying to give some kids something to have fun with because
Okay.
you know, we realize that kids love that about our music.
Yeah.
So if anything, we're just gonna take that element of the heaviness because obviously it's hit or miss with some people, and maybe we'll, you know, contrast it a little better. You know, maybe make a whole song of just super metal stuff. Next song is super metal, and then it leads up to just the biggest, most utter fucking disgusting part that someone's ever heard. So we're just really trying to layer it and make more of like an album where it's like, you know,
Yep.
everything is seamless, and it's just whether it's the lyrical content, the guitar playing, the drumming, you know, layers of samples, whatever it may be. You know, we just want to have, you know, and we're very like classical. You know, we love, you know, our guitarist is classically trained. He loves listening to like
Yngwie.
Yngwie
Loves
Malmsteen.
Yngwie.
He loves, you know, Johann Sebastian Bach. You know,
Nice.
like we're listening to stuff like that because those elements of music will never die. Like
No.
everybody loves classical elements, and that's why we have a lot of orchestra. Hey, one day we hope to have full orchestra behind our music. Someone actually
Maybe.
playing that stuff. You know what I mean?
Sick.
And legit, like that's, you know, we want to just amplify our sound a lot more and just become a lot more bigger and just, you know, people to look at us while we're playing us on a small stage being, wow, you know, I can see these guys on a fucking 500-foot stage, you know what I mean? And
Avril Lavigne big.
yeah, just every other band big, you know. We just want to go play these big European festivals and just people to be like, all right, they belong up there on that stage, you know. So it's all just it's step by step, you know. We never get ahead of ourselves. We don't think about the future too much. we just try and do what we can momentarily and just,
Nice.
you know,
I
keep
think-
it going.
I think if you keep at it, you'll be just fine. Another record is in the works. A lot more touring.
Oh yeah.
In the meantime, Psalms is out. This
is.
is Tom. This is Austin. These guys are Lorna Shore, fellas. Thanks again. I really do appreciate
Thank
it.
you,
Thanks a
Anthony.
lot.
You guys are awesome.